Hey guys, it's Starla Flippin Hippo. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel at Flippin Hippos. Today is Thursday, April 11th, and today I just wanted to touch base with you guys and talk a little bit about some of the more obscure eBay policies that a lot of us don't come into contact with on a daily basis. Some of us have never had any of these issues or situations pop up, but I have gotten a couple of messages in the past few days from some folks asking some questions. And then I saw a couple of conversations going on Facebook and some of the reselling groups pertaining to some of these policies. So I wanted to come on today and talk about them and let you guys know what you're supposed to do versus what people actually do. Because if you don't follow eBay policies and PayPal policies, you are putting your accounts or your platforms at risk. And if you were to be suspended off of eBay or get in trouble with PayPal, you could lose a big portion of how you make money and run your business. So we're going to talk about people asking to change their address on eBay after paying for an item before it being shipped. And then we're going to talk about folks asking for local pickup or local delivery instead of having the item shipped. Can you do these things? Yes, but you've got to make sure that you're following policy to protect your seller account on eBay and to protect your account on PayPal and to protect yourself in the instance or the occasion that someone may be less than honest. So let's talk about changing the address first. If someone purchases an item from you and then asks if they can change their address after the purchase before you ship it, you can, but you can't. The reasons people will ask you to do this, the honest reasons, a lot of times people will move and then they'll forget to update their address on PayPal. Sometimes people get a PO box and they don't update their address. There's a lot of honest reasons why people's addresses aren't the correct one on PayPal, and they may not notice it or they may miss it until after they've made the purchase. On the other side of the coin, there are scammers out there and there are dishonest people who may ask you to change the address because they're trying to get a free item or scam you. That's less common. I know I've told you guys this before. There are bad people out there. There are scammers, and some of us may run into some of them sometimes, occasionally in this business. But for the most part, most people are honest. Most people aren't trying to scam you. Thing is, if you have it in writing in an eBay message and you have proof that the buyer contacted you first and asked to change the address and you change it, and for whatever reason down the road they claim they never got the item, it never arrived, eBay will back you up. Absolutely. If you have written proof they asked to change the address and you have a tracking number uploaded to eBay showing you shipped it to this address they asked you to change it to, eBay's got your back. No prob. Here's the thing. PayPal does not have your back. PayPal policy states you must ship to the address on the account. You must ship to the address that's attached to the payment. So if they contact you via message and ask you to change it, and you change the address and upload tracking, and later the buyer says they never received their item, it was never shipped, and they go through eBay to open a case, eBay will back you up just like they would any other time there's a tracking number uploaded and the buyer's claiming they didn't get the item. If you can prove that you shipped it on time and the tracking number shows where it went, you're covered. Just like if you'd never changed the address, same situation, you would probably advise the buyer to check with everyone in their household and their neighbors and their post office, and in some instances eBay will refund them, but it doesn't reflect badly on you. You don't get any kind of defect and you aren't responsible for the refund. On the other hand, if they go through PayPal and open a case and say this was never delivered, and your tracking number that you uploaded that you show to PayPal throughout the process of the case when they allow you to present your side, if you show that you shipped it to any address other than the one that they have on their account, they will not back you up as a seller. They will absolutely make you refund the buyer, and you will be responsible for that. It doesn't matter if you have proof in a message on eBay. It doesn't matter if you have email proof. It doesn't matter what kind of proof you have. If you shipped it to any address other than the one on the account and the buyer claims they never got it, PayPal looks at that tracking number, says you sent it to a different address, they will make you refund the buyer. So that's just something to be aware of. There are people who change addresses all the time and they don't have issues with it. And there's sellers who are stringent about the rules. Wherever you fall is up to you. I can only tell you the policies and what's going to happen if a case is open against you. I can't tell anyone what to do. I can't tell you what we do personally. If someone asks us to change the address, we write back and say, unfortunately, per PayPal policy, we have to ship to your address on the account. If you would like to change the address, we are more than happy to cancel this order for you, and you can change your address on PayPal or repurchase it, and we'll ship it to that address. That takes a couple of more steps. It's a little bit more effort. And now, as I told you guys yesterday, and I'll link that video down below, and I'll have it come up here somewhere at the end of this video. Yesterday I talked about how PayPal is not refunding our fees anymore if we do a cancellation or a refund for any reason. So you got to kind of decide for yourself what risks you're willing to take. I am not here to tell anybody how to run their business or what to do. If you get a message on eBay to change the address and you're comfortable doing it, you don't want to do the cancellation and not get your fees back. That doesn't start till May 7th, by the way. So until May 7th, we do get our 2.9% back, but they keep that 30 cents, just like always. But after May 7th, moving forward, if you get a request to change the address, you know, you're out the fees twice when they rebuy it. So it's up to you. What are the chances that someone asks you to change the address just so they can open a case on PayPal later on, prove you sent it somewhere else, keep the item, and get a refund? Like I said, there are bad people out there. There are scammers. There are people who know how to work the system. The chance of you running into them is very, very low. It's very uncommon, but it could happen. You could absolutely get a buyer who knows how to work the system and asks you to change the address so that they can later say they never got the item. They get to keep the item and PayPal makes you refund them. So that's just something to keep in mind. Also, as eBay is rolling over into their new payment management system, which I also talked about yesterday, that will no longer be an issue. Buyers will be able to use, once everything's all rolled out and eBay has everything set up, which we're looking at the end of 2019, they just announced that they're adding PayPal as an option for buyers to those sellers who've already migrated over to the new payment system. Some of us haven't. But, you know, down the road when eBay's payment management system is all set up, you're actually going to be getting your payments from eBay. The buyers will have a choice to use Google Pay, PayPal, credit card, debit card, and possibly some other options. And at that point, because all of the payments are going through eBay's payment management system, you could absolutely change the address fast because you're only dealing with eBay. And they will back you up if you have proof that the buyer asked. Let's move on to the second thing I want to talk about: local pickup and local delivery. So if you have an item for sale on eBay and you have set it that you accept local pickup or local delivery, this doesn't apply to you because obviously that's a choice you have on your listing and they can select that. If you don't have that on your listing and you either sell an item and get a question later or get a question before it's purchased from a buyer asking you, hey, I live 4 blocks away. Hey, I live across town. I'm in the same city as you, whatever the situation. And they ask you if they can pick it up locally. I wouldn't do it unless you change the listing. So hopefully they contact you first. Again, if they've already bought it and you didn't have local pickup or local delivery on it and you decide to deliver it outside of the system, you're not getting the protection from eBay because you have not uploaded a tracking number. You have no proof that the item went to the buyer. You didn't even have local pickup as an option, so you don't really have a fight there. And again, uncommon, but bad people exist. They could absolutely ask you to deliver it locally. You bring them their item, and then they call eBay or open a case and say, I never got my item, and the eBay will check. There's never been a tracking number uploaded. Local pickup or local delivery was not an option on the listing. It just looks like you never shipped it. So now you've got a shipping defect and you've got a buyer saying you've never shipped the item, they never received it, they have your item, they get to keep it, and you get to refund them. So I really wouldn't suggest it if they've already purchased the item. If they ask you ahead of time, and it is something that you're comfortable doing, it's something that you're willing to do for your buyer, absolutely go into your listing, edit the listing, add local delivery as an option, and then let them buy it. But I would tell them that first, like write them back and say, hey, yeah, I can do this for you. Just give me a minute to change my listing to have local delivery as an option, so you can choose that when you check out, and then you're covered. But I would not, absolutely would not suggest ever delivering something to someone local or letting them come to pick it up from you if they've already purchased it and that was not an option, because you can absolutely run into this situation where they say they didn't get it and you've got to refund them. I also would not recommend anybody having people come to your house or going to their home. That's just some safety tips as far as any local sales. If you do Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, I just think for personal safety, you probably don't want people coming to your house, and you don't want to go to their house. And don't go anywhere alone. If you have to go pick something up or deliver it for local sales, have a friend go with you, have your husband go with you, and meet in a public place. Pick the inside cafe of a Starbucks. Pick a well-crowded mall. A lot of police departments allow local sales to happen in their parking lot to ensure the safety of their citizens. There's just so many options out there for you to go meet people in public. Bring a friend, never go alone. I just don't think that people should be having people come to their house, especially if you're going to be home alone. Again, is it realistic that you're going to run into the one bad person, serial killer, robber that's on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace looking for a victim? Probably not, but it happens. You guys have all heard the news stories, and you've all seen the social media stories about situations where bad people use local sales platforms like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace to have a way in to either hurt you physically or kind of check you out and your surroundings and what you have in your house and decide if they're going to come back later and burglarize you. Those are just some quick safety tips for you guys. Again, I want to reiterate that most people in the world are good, but there are some bad people in the world who are willing to scam, who do know the system, who will absolutely ask you to change the address or for a local pickup so they can later claim they never got the item and keep it, and then you got to refund them. And if it's a $12 shirt or $18 plushie, it's not that big of a deal, but think if you're dealing with expensive electronics or really expensive vintage items. So it's just something to keep in mind. You want to protect yourself as a seller, absolutely, but you also want to protect your platforms, and you don't want to go against any policies on any platform. Just like I said yesterday, it's a good idea as a self-employed reseller to stay abreast of the news and to just keep up to date on all the policies on the platforms you use and stay within the rules so that you protect yourself as a seller, not only to protect yourself from being suspended and losing the ability to use these tools and platforms, but you also want to protect yourself against scams and losing money, because at the end of the day, every business loss is a loss. Even if you recoup it, even if you have good profits this year, if you lose out on one sale because you changed the address and you lost $200, you still took a $200 loss. Even if you can recoup that money, you could have had $200 more. And at the end of the day, we all want to make more money, right? So just be wary, guys. Be aware of what the policies are. Protect yourselves. Make sure you're doing everything that you need to be doing. Be those good human beings that exist and let other people not be good. We should all be good, right? Let me know what you think down in the comments, guys. Like the video before you leave if you would. It does help the channel. If you haven't already and you'd like to, please subscribe to our channel and help us feed a hungry hippo. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're at Flippin' Hippos across all social media. Feel free to join our Facebook group. The link to it is in the description. Until next time, you guys, have a good night. Go make money and be productive.